roundup of different nonprofits around town, right? And yes, and what kind of news do you have coming our way today? And where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with the chamber because, we're hot and heavy in the middle of our virtual auction.
Okay.
Because we couldn't have the live auction because of the COVID thing. So the virtual auction started last Saturday, I think, or Friday, and it's going to go for 15 days on the first 30 items.
Okay.
And I've got a list of items here, and Scott, what are you looking for? I probably have on this list. You want a vacation to Mexico?
I would love a vacation to Mexico.
Okay, or to Canada. I mean,
no. I've been trying to wage war on Canada for a few years now.
Okay. Well, maybe you like to eat. There's all kinds of things here to eat.
No, I stopped eating. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, of course. Have you seen me lately? I love to eat.
Okay, all right. I mean, there's lots of items from entertainment to, nights away to weeks away to, there's a Traeger on here, a portable Traeger. There's some jewelry. I mean, there's gift certificates to like Sporties and Monica's and, that type of thing. And so, it's really a nice list. And if to get to the virtual auction, you can either go to the chamber website, which is,
Chuila.org.
Okay. And it'll be there. You can go on the Facebook page. It'll be there. And they'll either have a QR code, which will take you right to the website, or the actual logins there. And the login is chuila.org//auction. And it'll take you to the bidding site.
It's super easy. I'm already there.
You already there?
Yeah, I've already made it there before you finished talking about it.
Oh, okay. So it's that easy.
It's that easy.
Just to remind people, some people say, well, what does this do? Well, probably the most visible thing you see are the flowers and the music downtown. And then beyond that, they support a lot of the nonprofits that are around town. They, even though it's a business-oriented, type of an organization, Chihuahua is unique in the standpoint that it not only takes care of small businesses, which is the lifeblood of the community, but it also really focuses on, things like the Lions Club and PACA and, Creative District.
Sure.
They support all those things too. So, this is the primary fundraiser they use for the year. So that's going to continue. It'll continue until the 15th of October. The famous raffle for gift cards.
Yes.
Which I won 2 years ago. I'm so proud of that. Remember that?
You are. You bring it up all the time.
And I'm still using some of those gift cards 2 years later, primarily because of COVID.
I've never got one of those gift cards as a gift.
You didn't?
Saying. Just saying.
Well, I'll have to see it. I think I have one in there for some gravel.
Yeah. I think if you're going to put that in my apartment, are you?
Yeah. But the raffle's still going for that. The chamber elected to move that to the beginning of city sidewalks, which I'll talk about in a minute. So you can stop by the chamber office, Acres United, Valley Drug, the Independent, or Bangor Bank, and you can pick up some of these raffle tickets.
Okay.
They're $5 each. If you the odds are pretty good that you'll win because it's a small market and there's a limited number of people enter, but they're considerably higher if you don't enter. So that's a joke, Scott.
The price of losing is massive.
It's massive.
Yes.
And it's guaranteed to be at least $1,500. And I know the year that I won it was a little over $3,000. So,
wow.
It's well worth it as far as, picking up a raffle ticket or 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 or 20. We don't discriminate.
And you're supporting a great cause. Don't forget that.
Yeah, it's going back to the chamber to help the overhead in the chamber and the causes that I talked about a little bit earlier. The Boo Fest is going to be on October 29th from 3:30 in the afternoon until 6 o'clock. We'll be finalizing all the details of that actually tomorrow morning. But I can tell you right now, we're going to focus in on Main Street. We've already, I think Sandy told me last Friday or Thursday, we already had 19 businesses that signed up for it. And a couple from not out of the main downtown core. And what we're doing there is we're looking for a space where they can set up. If, like the Rustic Punter, for instance, is going to participate in Boo Fest, and we're going to be at the courtside, because it's a little bit out of the way for a downtown event for kids and stuff like that.
Okay.
We're going to run photo contests in 3 different age groups. There'll also be a grand prize. There'll be chamber bucks and a variety of other giveaways. We're going to have a contest, I think, on the best candy, contest on the best costume. And basically, Brandon Hansen has taken this thing and ran with it. And you can imagine all the craziness that comes out of Brandon.
Oh, man. Town's going to burn.
Yeah, exactly. So, in fact, I got this full-page list of ideas that we're going to go over tomorrow morning and figure out how we can get implemented from Brandon Hansen.
Okay.
So that's on. That's for the 29th of October. That's a Friday at, like I say, it's 3:30 in the afternoon, 6 o'clock. We'll talk about it tomorrow and cross your fingers, but we might even see if the firemen want to participate and do a little Fireburger action to do a fundraising in conjunction with it at that point in time. And so although, I've never been involved in Boo Fest in the past, and I'm starting to get excited about, figuring out how to make this thing the event of the year in Shawila, Washington. How's that sound?
All right. It will be a success if you dress up.
I don't have a costume, but Loretta's got one that's a pumpkin. I don't know.
I'm picturing you in that costume, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah, well, that would be like putting a tiny little, I'm trying to lime on my body.
Uh-huh.
It would fit half of me.
I'm picturing it right now. Just saying.
You are, huh? Okay. Okay. And then the city sidewalks. That's scheduled to start on December 4th. They're starting the planning action on that. You know what's scary, Scott, is we're already talking about December.
I know. The old thing my mom always used to say and Dad about time flying when you get old. Man, it cruises so fast I can't keep up.
It does. It absolutely does. Yeah. And so I don't have a lot of information on that yet, but other than the target dates on the 4th of December. And then yesterday, I went out to the casino and I didn't participate. I was there as an observer of the groundbreaking for the hotel.
All right. So what did the groundbreaking consist of? Did somebody actually take a shovel out of the dirt? I want to know.
Well, what it did is they had about 9 shovels.
Okay.
And what I was cool is they took the chairwoman of the tribe, Carol Evans, and Dorothy Knaus and put them in the middle.
Oh, wow.
Because Dorothy has been a real driver on developing a relationship with the tribe.
And that's so nice they had her out to do that, too. Yeah.
Exactly. I thought it was really a nice point. But it was nice. It was about an hour long, and they opened up with, some drum type stuff. And then they introduced the contractor, and the contractor introduced the people that are in charge of various places. They introduced the I guess I won't say, maybe it's the architect or designer. They talked about it. It's going to be 70 rooms. It's going to have executive conference rooms. It sounds like it's going to have a pool. Yeah, exactly. It's going to have a bar inside the hotel.
Say it isn't so.
Yeah. It's going to have ski lockers, of which we're going to convince them also golf club lockers.
Okay.
Because they got to be used during summer, right?
That's right.
He was going through this litany of stuff that I'm hoping between Cat Brooks and Brandon, because they were both there, they got it all written down. And knowing those two, it's going to be a nice coverage in the Independent, which I think might even be this week.
So when we had him on our show, last year.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Maybe even before COVID, and we were talking about this. I remember I was kind of disappointed because there wasn't a pool in the plan. So that's something that they've added in, and that's a big expense.
It is a big expense.
Wow.
Huge expense. And so it was. They probably had 80 people there. There was, I think, KXLY was there, Krem was there. We talked about, in fact, one of the tribal council members mentioned that they've been working on this since 2005 and had hiccups on it once in a while. But in the time I've been here, this is the furthest it's been along. So I think it really is going to happen. They've already started hauling in fill dirt. They have to settle that, because that's all a swamp out there, basically. The hotel is going to be designed so that the infrastructure will be built so they can add 70 more rooms if they need to.
Smart.
They're basically, you're going to see more stuff coming from them, predominantly through the chamber or Facebook. As far as build outs, their next step is a brand new casino. And then once the casino is completed, then they're going to take the old casino and convert that into a conference center. And then once that's done, then they've got plans to put a retail, more infrastructure out there. And they're really sensitive to not hurting downtown Chewelah. So one of the comments that was made was anything we put in a retail center will complement what's in Chewelah, not compete with it.
Nice.
So, it was, I got a bum leg, and it was, it wasn't the most pleasant process standing there for an hour, but I was glad I went. I really was. And, Mark Burrows was there, and Jim Caruso was there, Dorothy was there. It was just, they had a nice turnout. They really did. And beautiful weather, of course. They couldn't ask for nicer weather yesterday to do that. So the casino hotel's on its way. I think their target opening date is December of 2022.
Wow.
So,
rather soon.
yeah. Which, and then on the creative district side, not a whole lot happening yet because we got the big call coming up on October 15th. And then once I get that call completed, then I'll be able to give more direction to everybody on what kind of funding we're going to get, what kind of guidelines or restrictions they're going to have. Because when you get this grant money coming out of anywhere, they put all kinds of rule sets on it, as you're well aware of. So, on the creative district, if you want to go to our website, it's ChewelahCreativeDistrict.org, right smack in the middle of the website, down a little bit, you'll see where you can go in and give us some ideas on what you'd like to see in Chewelah. We've had a fair number of people respond to that, and we're going to collect that data and kind of prioritize it. And then once we prioritize it, then make sure it meets the vision and the mission of the creative district, and then we'll take a look at the funding and then figure out, how we're going to be able to disperse that most effective way.
Do any things pop to mind that you saw that went, oh, that's a cool idea?
Well, I think there's a couple. One of them is to put seating throughout downtown, like benches.
Okay.
Of course, the murals pop up quite a bit. People want to see more murals. In fact, I got cornered on that yesterday by Sherry Lundstrom when we were out at the casino. How to complement the city comprehensive plan with what they're looking at doing the civic center, and the creek runs through it, or walks through it. That document's been around forever.
Yeah.
Looking at figuring out if it's all possible to do some supportive revitalization of some of the buildings downtown. That's a big nut to crack, but I guess unless you get it started, it'll never move forward.
Well, the problem with that is it's private property, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And everybody's got to play nice or it won't work.
Yeah.
Working on putting together more festivals and things that replaced Chautauqua basically, but on more of a consistent basis throughout the year. And actually I had a great visit with Tim Nielsen on that about 10 days ago too, and his thoughts on how to, incorporate, the arts and culture side of things into that also.
It'll be really curious how many people, I don't know how well it's being promoted outside of our area, but how many people a music festival will bring into Chewelah. And
right.
This is kind of our first event since the cancellation of Chautauqua. So I'm really curious how it'll go over and in the park and how many people show up and stuff. And it's coming up fast, 10 days.
Yeah, it's 10 days. Yeah. And and I know that I saw a little bit of promotion on that, but I haven't seen a lot yet. And that's actually on my list for tomorrow to talk to the marketing committee of the chamber and see.
Well, and it's something people can share on Facebook because, this isn't you're not going to have to pay tickets to see these bands. And just imagine how difficult it is to pull something pull something like this off when it's the first time and you don't have the budget of having done it previously and have that income. Right. And they're trying to get a beer garden going and vendors and that kind of stuff. So it is a tough process, especially with all the obstacles that could come up in your way from COVID.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So. Anything right now, if you're serious about, the guidelines on COVID, it has a whole different logistics feel to it, believe me.
Yeah.
We do a fair amount of stuff at the golf course we've actually canceled because we couldn't logistically make it work and feel comfortable with the guidelines. And so, there's a lot of that out there. And whether you believe it or not, it's still an aspect I think any business needs to take into consideration. I don't want to go down that road, but it could create a whole lot of negative if things do happen the wrong direction. So, but yeah, my hat's off. I think it's the lady that's putting that together, taking the initiative and at least, put the tickler out there and plant the seed because I think there's a big need for it. And then once you plant the seed, it's the second time you do it, just like on most things, or the third time, the easier it gets to do and the more acceptance you get and, things like that.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, it's pretty impressive the number of bands that are coming to town to play. So, yeah. And
has that been published anywhere? I don't know if I've seen that.
We have announcements that are running on the radio, and I'm not sure if she's done something with the Independent.
Okay.
But it's the bands that are willing to come play are awesome. So now Saturday is basically rock day, and then Sunday is going to be country. With a whole slate of bands, and they've even got some locals in there, like the Singing Fire Chief. On Saturday, a couple of the bands for people that would frequent the concerts that we were doing here at KCHW pre-COVID, our mini concerts. Jason Van Noe is going to be there playing, who has played one of our shows before, an excellent musician, and the band Rusted Hand is going to be playing, and they've done one of our shows before too. So I'm excited because those are two bands that I really enjoyed having here at our studios and watching them perform. So I'm excited to see them with their full bands because they, usually when they come in, a band will do, especially if it's a rock and roll band like Jason or Rusted Hand, they do kind of a cut down show for us because it's a small room. They don't bring the whole drum kit. Like Rusted Hand, they brought their acoustic guitars instead of their electric ones and stuff. So I'm really excited to see those two groups doing a full show on stage. So
right.
All right.
Okay. And then, just on the golf course side, just remind people we're closing the golf course on the 17th. And the weather actually is cooperating fantastic. So if you want to, the course is in it is in phenomenal shape. So thanks to Ron May and the crew, they've done a great job on that. And then after the 17th, you cannot play golf on the 18-hole side, but the 9-hole course will be open, but the pro shop one, so it's just walk on and play. and then of course maintenance starts for the winter, so there's some things you have to deal with, but you can just 9-hole course will stay open until the Ron May says we can no longer do it due to weather or frost or things like that. So on the Rusty Putter side, this will be next week will be the last week we're open 7 days a week, and then we'll go to the seasonal Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I'll get you that stuff to change the ad.
Okay.
But basically, Friday and Saturday will be from 8 in the morning until 7 at night, and then Sundays from 8 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. And then dinner specials on both Friday and Saturday, and breakfast served until 2 o'clock on Sundays.
Okay.
So might throw, if the timing on Seahawks games or even Gonzaga later on fits within reason, then we might even throw some special late afternoon type things in there too for just those types of things. So, and then the last thing on my list is, and I don't know where you're at with Tim, but tomorrow is First Thursday.
Oh. Well, I don't think we have a new artist coming in. It'll be the continuation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it is.
So we will not have he hasn't contacted me anyway to do anything. And we usually don't unless it's a new artist for that month.
Okay. Yeah. The one thing that jumped out at me was the number of places where different artists will be displaying artwork has grown. I think there's 5 or 6 of them on there now. So it really is becoming more back to that downtown activity type thing it was prior to COVID. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out there because, Tim does a great job in supporting Chihuahua as far as bringing people in.
Yes.
And one of the things we discussed when I was with him a while back was the number of people that come in to see the shows, like the First Thursday thing. And the vast majority of those people come in from out of town, which is what you want. Because it's what I call that. I hate to look at dollars and cents on everything, but frankly, it's new money coming into town. You're not recycling dollars locally. And frankly, it gets people exposed to Chihuahua.
Well, and they're spending their dollars locally as they mill around town, checking it out. They're having dinner here. They might even be staying in a hotel room here for the night. So, yeah.
Exactly. So as typical, there's a lot of stuff going on in Chihuahua that I think the Independent does a good job of getting out there. The Chamber gets a good job getting out there. And I think we do our part. I know we do our part because people make comments to me all the time. So
that they heard it on the radio?
They heard it on the radio, or somebody heard it on the radio and they want more information.
Wow. Well, that can be the hard part, too, because like on recordings, just like for the Rocktober music festival, right. It's that, I want more information, and there's that phone number at the end, and sometimes you miss it, right? So.
Right, exactly. Well, and I would encourage people to follow Facebook pages. I mean, and I know Facebook, had a hiccup here the other day, but, frankly, it's a good place for finding out what's happening in the area. And you could do that at the Chamber Facebook page, the Creative District Facebook page, KCHW's Facebook page. There's a lot of places where you can access that.
All right.
And in a digital world, you're going to lose out if you don't occasionally look at those things.
All right.
So.
All right, I got a couple things I can add to our little nonprofit roundup from around town. And also I want to mention, too, is just so you know, I've been contacted by our superintendent of Chihuahua Schools, and he would like to start crashing our show, too. So we need to work that into our Wednesday roundup with Mr. Jason Parents and get him on the show, too. A note from Joel Welzinski. Of course, Joe, a big part of theater in our community, Chihuahua Center for the Arts, and, of course, the Park Avenue Players. Auditions for Over the River and Through the Woods to be directed by Catherine Patton. This is Park Avenue Players. Information, 936-5980, 936-5980. So another play coming our way there on that. I will be sending out membership renewals for those that support public radio or would like to support public radio, and those should be arriving in your mailbox over the next couple weeks as we send out those letters. I did have several people over the past few months contact me and say, how come I didn't get a renewal? And we kind of had a membership fall off due to COVID. We blame everything on COVID now, due to COVID. And we moved that to once a year. So we'll be doing our annual fall membership renewal drive starting here in the next couple weeks. So watch for something in your mailbox. And we hope you got some money laying around you can support public radio with. Also want to say a round of applause. I've given her credit before, and that's our friend of radio, one of our volunteers, Melissa Silvio, done a great job in bringing in some grants, keeping us on the air through all this. So thank you very much, Melissa. We're so lucky to have you. And I know you've been trying to steal her.
I have. She actually emailed me.
Yeah, no, you stay away from my grant writer. Come on. Wow.
Yeah, in fact, she emailed me last week as I was getting ready to leave town, and then she sent me some stuff yesterday, and so I'm going to give her a call. I appreciate the referral.
All right. Yeah. Just, remember where she came from, and don't monopolize her time. But yeah.
And I suppose you want a finder's fee.
Yeah. I want something out of this if I'm giving you my grant writer. Wow. No, she's done a excellent job. I think she's 3 for 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I took a class when we first started the radio station years ago from the WSU Extension in Colville, and it was a grant writing class. And their numbers were 1 out of 10. So she's doing awesome.
It's awesome,
yeah, you get 1 out of every grant, and she seems to get everyone. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, I know that the email she sent me, a link to a grant that she thought might fit. And I was aware of that grant. I hadn't looked at it, but the important thing to me was, why don't you look at this and then give me a call, because I know some of the people to talk to about this.
Yeah. Well, and having somebody that's working with different nonprofit groups writing grants around the area is great, because now with COVID it's a little different. But pre-COVID, and I imagine post-COVID, some of the foundations that give out grants to charitable organizations, they like to see interconnectivity in the community, and Chihuahua's already been really good about this. The different groups that come together and work together, especially in the nonprofit sector. There's a lot of overlapping of volunteers, even people. I mean, doesn't Sharon Ludwig belong to every nonprofit group in town? She's got her pulse on the community. So there's that kind of aspect to it. And when you're going for these grants, a lot of times when they can see this interconnectivity between the nonprofit groups and maybe they write the grant that benefits too, they like that kind of stuff where they can see more bang for the buck that they are donating or supporting nonprofits with. And when you see it helping a couple different agencies, it makes a big difference. So.
Yeah, it well, even back when we started the process to become a creative district, the application process, that was one of the things they were just astounded with. We ended up with 15 collaborative partners helping out with that application.
Wow.
And they looked at that, and I know that Annette and I were talking about it one day, and she says, it's unreal to me that you got anywhere from the school district to the Spokane Tribe, to the library, to the chamber, just on and on, all collaborative partners and help you get this started. And that said a lot to the Washington State Arts Commission.
And that's probably part of the reason why we were, the second one to get it in the state?
Second one to get it in the state, yeah, because of that community-wide collaboration. It wasn't so siloed. So, yeah, no, that's absolutely true. That's what's one of the things that's unique about Chihuahua.
Well, and you're a great example too. Like I was pointing out Sharon being involved in so many groups. Just the 3 groups you've reported on today. So you're part of that too. You've got your hands in several of them, and it helps that collaboration between the different groups, definitely. Hey, I see our mayoral candidates are in the waiting room.
They are.
They're in the green room. Yeah. All right, so we should probably do something. And by the way, I'll give you a round of applause, too, for all your work for the nonprofits there. And thank you, Mr. Mike Bentz, for the Wednesday nonprofit roundup and volunteering a day a week here at KCHW. We appreciate that, too, and everything you bring to the radio station. Now, let's see. We got a couple minutes to kill before the top of the hour. I think I'm going to pick on Mike. Are you ready, Mike?
I'm ready.
All right. This is, we get to see how big his brain really is.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Oh, yeah. Today it's Trivia with Mike Bentz.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
All right. How you feeling today, Mike? You good for this?
Yeah, I'm up. Let's go for it.
All right. You haven't cheated? You haven't looked at the questions, anything like that, right?
No.
All right.
No.
You sure you can certify that?
Well, yes.
Okay. All right. First question. Fun and games. Trivia. Pigs, dogs, and some other animals can taste this, but people cannot.
Pigs, dogs, and animals can taste this?
But people cannot.
Air.
Oh, you are so close. You were so close, but no.
Oh, okay.
But you're so close, though. You're so close. It's one of the elements. How's that?
Oh, okay. Rain?
Snow? Taste rain. Well, you're beating around the bush. What are those made from?
Water?
Water. That's the answer we're looking for. Yay, Mike. Wow, you can.
You mean that smart water doesn't have a taste?
No, well, smart water does. It's got electrolytes in it. Dogs, pigs, and some other animals can taste water, but people cannot.
Oh. All right. That was my first choice, and I'm thinking, I can taste water. I should change water.
What they say is you taste any chemicals or impurities that have been added to your water.
Oh, so what you're telling me is distilled water.
Yeah. Well, it's like,
Okay.
I don't want to get sued or nothing, but you pick out some of those cheaper waters and they don't taste very good. It's
Okay.
like usually the ones that are in the really thin plastic bottle that when you pop the top off, it spills all over you because the bottle's so weak. Those ones usually taste like plastic to me, just saying.
Plastic, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Spy the lie, Mike. All right, tell me
Okay.
which one is a lie. 95% of all forms of life that have existed on Earth are now extinct. 95% of all forms of life that have existed on Earth are now extinct. Egypt has more lakes than the rest of the world combined. And in 1955, the standard for tipping was 5%. That's my mom. She's still doing it.
I'm
Here's
gonna
a
say that
corner.
Egypt one's a lie.
You are exactly right. It's okay. Do you know what country does have more lakes than the rest of the world combined?
The United States, U.S.,
Negative.
Canada.
There you go. Those evil people
Okay.
up in Canada. Huh. All right. We're going to skip that one. Breakfast bingo. Last one. 5 questions. Each answer begins with the corresponding letter in the word bingo. You know how that's spelled, right, though?
Right.
All right. I don't need to sing the song this time? Okay.
Nope.
Okay. It divides countries and states.
Borders.
What you need to get on a plane or when buying alcohol.
You need to get an ID.
There you go. They live next door.
Neighbors.
I should have said they're creepy, and they live. No, I'm just kidding. All right, where you buy food,
Grocery store.
and to put things in order.
Order.
No.
Organized.
There you go. All right. Hey, congratulations, Mike. You made it through trivia today, and you just spelled bingo. Yay!
That's right. Bingo.
Yay! All right, so we will be back in just a few minutes with our mayoral candidates, but we got to thank some sponsors first, and we'll give you some news as we get set up for part 2. So stick around with us. It's your KCHW Morning Show. Also, since we were talking about the event coming up on the 16th in the park, it's the Rocktober Music Festival. Some information on that coming your way, too.
You're listening to Northern Lights Public Radio on 102.7 KCHW, Chewelah, Loon Lake, Clayton.
It's 8:03.
Your KCHW Morning Show, made possible by a donation from God-Fearing Brothers Auto Center. God-Fearing Brothers specializes in auto services, including repair, maintenance, and detailing. They also stock tires, provide collision repairs including glass, and they have an auto sales lot on the corner of Highway 395 and Main Street at the light. For more information, you can visit the Auto Service Center at 806 East Main in Chewelah. Find them online at godfearingbrothers.com or by phone at 509-935-6414.
This is KCHW 102.7.
This portion of programming brought to you by 509's Finest Entertainment.
I'd like to remind everybody that coming to Chewelah this October 16th and 17th is the Rocktober Mountain Music Festival. Our Saturday lineup is rock and roll. Headlining our show will be Incoming Days with Enemy Mine and the Nixon Rodeo as co-head. All But Lost will be joining us from Colville, and Those Damn Kids will be coming from wherever they come from. Sunday is our acoustic and country showcase with local favorites like Dave and Ray and Old Souls and Antiques, as well as excellent performers Pamela Jean, Rusty Jackson, and Jason Perry, and many, many more. If you would like information on how to become a vendor or sponsor, please contact me directly at 509-608-2157. Call or text are both available. We'd also like to let the public know that there have been people pretending to be affiliated with our event. Please contact me directly, 509-608-2157. No one else is authorized to accept payment for vendor spaces.
This 509's Finest Entertainment event brought to you in part by Acres United Drug and KCHW.
The Public News Service Daily Newscast, October the 6th, 2021. I'm Mike Clifford. Hospitals in Idaho are rationing care because of the latest strain from the pandemic. Eric Teganoff reports not everyone is happy with the criteria.
Some groups are questioning the use of age as one of the determinants for who gets medical attention, or how promptly. A flood of COVID-19 patients has pushed Idaho to implement its crisis standards of care guidelines. The standards say in the event of scarce resources, the focus should be on saving the most life years. That could lead hospitals to choose to save a younger person because they're assumed to have more years left to live, says Lupe Whistle, State Director of AARP Idaho.
I understand the need for the crisis standards of care, absolutely. However, any healthcare decision should be made based on individualized medical assessments of patients, their circumstances, and objective medical evidence. Age should not and should never be used as a factor in making this very hard medical decisions.
The Idaho Department of Health and Welfare says ensuring patients aren't discriminated against based on age or other factors, like race, religion, or disability, is a guiding principle for patient care.
Hospitalizations and deaths continue to rise in Idaho. The state remains one of the least vaccinated in the country, with about 53% of people over age 12 fully vaccinated. CNN reports that Democratic senators are scrambling now to find a way to avert a potential debt default as soon as next week, amid a high-stakes standoff with the Republicans, and are privately discussing whether it's possible to change the Senate rules so the borrowing limit can be raised by a simple majority vote. A major opponent to changing the filibuster is West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin. He insisted Tuesday that Congress would not let the country default. President Biden called the prospect of Democrats adopting a carve-out of the filibuster rules a real possibility. And a lack of public scrutiny may have contributed to South Dakota becoming a global leader as a tax haven.
The Pandora Papers, released by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, says South Dakota is home to $360 billion in trusts that belong to a range of international clients. These shelters may be legal, but they're tied to some individuals accused of human rights abuses. South Dakota State University's Dave Wiltsey says polling from his department suggests most South Dakotans are unaware of this growing sector.
It doesn't come on their radar for some very logical reasons, and it stays out of their attention for some very logical reasons.
In the poll, more than 3 out of 4 South Dakotans incorrectly cited agriculture as the state's top industry, even though the financial industry now plays a prominent role. I'm Mike Moen.
This is PNS.
Your KCHW morning show made possible by a donation from God-Fearing Brothers Auto Center. God-Fearing Brothers specializes in auto services, including repair, maintenance, and detailing. They also stock tires, provide collision repairs, including glass, and they have an auto sales lot on the corner of Highway 395 and Main Street at the light. For more information, you can visit the Auto Service Center at 806 East Main in Chewelah. Find them online at godfearingbrothers.com or by phone at 509-935-6414.
It's a dirty, dusty, bluesy kind of thing. But you gotta hear it for yourself. Catch Dirt Road Doug and the Dirt Road Blues. Wednesday nights at 8 on KCHW 102.7.
Good morning. Part 2 of your KCHW morning show, looking at 8:09. You got Scott and Mike on a Wednesday, and now special guests. I wish I could say they were in the studio, but we have them live via Zoom, and that is our 2 mayoral candidates. I would like to welcome to the studios for the first time Ashley Ludwig and Greg McCunn. I'm sorry. I was really trying to pronounce that right too, Greg. I'm sorry. All right.
No worries.
How are you guys both doing this morning? Everybody ready?
Ready to go?
All right. Thank you once again, and Mike's going to help me out, too, with questions and keep us on task today. First, I'd just like to start off, and I'm going to just kind of go in the order of the ballot this morning. So, Greg, I'm going to come to you first, and I would like to know a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit about your history and your life in Chewelah.
You bet. So thank you for having us on. Excited to be here and be part of this great process of selecting the next mayor. So I grew up most of my younger years in Montana. Majority of my adult years and my family of 6 were all born and raised in Eastern Washington. So that puts us about 30 years Eastern Washington. There's a few nomadic years in there where we got to taste other parts of the country, like Pennsylvania for a couple of years, and then the west side of our state. We've been property owners in Stevens County for about 25 years, owning property on Deer Lake, and that's what really tied our hearts to Chewelah. So when my company said I could do my job from anywhere in the state, I said, anywhere? And we chose Chewelah. We're really a family that likes smaller communities where we can know our neighbor and they can know us, and really be part of a community. With the exposure to larger towns and cities, unfortunately, more and more society is shifting towards kind of a social media relationship, or what I've called garage door relationships in neighborhoods, where the garage door opens, you see your neighbor and wave when they go to work. And then the garage door opens when they come home and you wave and they close the garage door. So we wanted a little bit more. And growing up like that, felt like with the beauty of Chewelah, the people we knew in Chewelah, this is where we wanted to be. And so here we are. And now running for mayor of this wonderful city.
All right. What were you thinking? All right. No,
what was I thinking?
All right. The beautiful Ashley Ludwig. Welcome, Ashley. And tell us a little bit about your background, too.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Scott and Mike, for having us on this morning to give everyone the chance to get to know us a little bit more. So as you said, I'm Ashley Ludwig, and longtime resident, born in Wichita, but moved up here when I was 5 with my mama and my 2 siblings, and just developed a love for this community and a great appreciation. Been all over the states, different countries, but Chewelah has always been home to me, and there's several attributes and qualities that you can't find elsewhere, especially raising my 2 children here. So super passionate about the community, love all the people that are trying to make this town a better place. And so that was the big push of why I wanted to become mayor. I felt like I was called to put my name in the hat, and I'm just very passionate about the community and want to keep seeing it move forward progressively, but in addition to supporting all the different age demographics and all the people that care about it as much as I do.
All right. Excellent. Both of you. Good job. All right. Let's roll out our first question. Greg, what are the top 2 priorities you want to accomplish over the next 4 years?
Well, to nail 2 priorities in 4 years is a pretty good span of time, but there's more. I think that as mayor, part of the commitment needs to be to continue to meet and grow people in our city. I've really had a great experience actually door knocking for the first time in my life. I've been that guy, going door to door and meeting different individuals. And what that affords the exposure to is just different perspectives from different demographics, different age groups, and really informs what the kind of grassroots needs are and what the perceptions are in our community. So I think while that has really informed my understanding during the campaign, I would want to continue that as mayor. The other priority would be to increase alignment. I've talked during the campaign a lot about all the good things we have going on. in the corporate world, we use a word, maybe overuse it, that is alignment. And that's really getting various people in different roles and responsibilities to agree on an objective or an approach, and then align those to the achievement of shared goals. And I think that is an area through the City Comprehensive Plan and other efforts that we could, I could provide some leadership and some guidance to bring better alignment to our community. This is going to expand, 1, awareness, 2, communication, and 3, really greater success, because alignment enables the individual group's success to tie to the success of the whole, and that's really what we're all about. Part of the first 4 years as well, I think with the recent win we've had at the airport, I think that can that process, the execution phase can start, and I'll talk more about that in some of the other questions. And I'd also like to see the storefronts on Main filled, and that can happen within the first 2 years.
Ashley, same question to you. What are the top 2 priorities you want to accomplish over the next 4 years?
Absolutely. So one of the greatest needs I see in our community is the ability for more housing. We have a long line of people wanting to move in, and I absolutely don't blame them, especially what they can bring to Chewelah. So, and part of that is creating incentives, and that can look like simplifying the permit process. Right now, it's extremely meticulous and long-winded, and it takes way too long to complete. And that's not even, setting the foundations and getting things going. More business incentives to bring a more varied economy to Chewelah, which would ultimately produce more jobs. And then reducing the initial cost for hookups. And so we're currently looking at that as a city council in our current rates. And if we keep those low, the longevity of what utilities could bring in for the city could be astronomical, as opposed to that initial hookup. So there's lots of different ways that we can incentivize and support the ability for people wanting to come in and move, let alone build. We were looking at our statistics this year, and we've seen 25 new homes go up around the Chewelah area in general. So the need is there, and to provide more quality and affordable housing would definitely be something that I would love to attack. In addition, from the very beginning, I've spoken about bringing all of our groups and unifying their causes together. I've worked with various and several of our local groups, and they all have amazing agendas to do really unique things to Chewelah, and they have amazing causes that they care about. And so I want to unify and bring those together in a more centralized hub, which could take place in a monthly meeting. It could be a telemeeting, it could be emails, in person, you name it. But to list a few of those, we've got the CARP A to Z, School District, Creative District, PACA, Chewelah Valley Land Trust, our Lions, Kiwanis. We have several nonprofits in the area, and our council, our mayor, and of course our chamber, which is composed of a lot of our businesses. So we all have these amazing groups working in many different capacities that all have these really unique causes of making Chewelah a better place to live. And so I would love to bring those more together and have us moving together in a more unified process.
All right. Thank you. Mike, we've got a whole bunch of questions. I'm going to let you, we probably won't make them through all of them. So I'm going to let you pick out one that you feel you would like to hear from our candidates about.
Okay. I think one of the things that I've been appreciative of and really admire is Dorothy's champion, 3 basic initiatives, the broadband, the hotel, and the airport purchase. And one of the concerns that not only I have, but I've heard by the more progressive people in the community is how are we going to continue that? So it's not like a one and done, and enhance that. And so I'll throw that question at Greg, I guess, initially, and then we'll run that back to you, Ashley.
Sounds great.
So I don't know that everybody knows this, and I hope we get to talk about communication because everybody should. But just last Thursday, Shelley Short and Wes McCart held a meeting along with Mark Burrows, Dorothy, about 5 individuals from WSDOT up at our airport. And prior to that meeting, if you were exposed to all the dynamics of what we wanted to accomplish on behalf of the city, and what obstacles existed because of certain state regulations and such, you'd probably walk away going, well, we'll see our aspirations at the airport over the next 3 to 10 years start to develop. Really, to Dorothy's credit and Shelley Short, who called the meeting together, having the right people on site at the right time, about 5 key components came together all at once and were approved. This greatly accelerates not only the opportunities we have as a city to develop the airport, but to benefit from how we develop it. So in terms of my involvement in continuing that work, a lot of work has been done to assess, what will that area be? What will those 86 areas around the airport look like, and how will we use them? What's the highest and best use for that land? I've heard there's different analyses done. I have not had eyes on those. So I'd want to basically see a pro forma analysis to assess what that highest and best use is, because you can have residential, you can have commercial industrial, you can have a mix of the two. Most are aligned to a mix of the two, but then there's nuanced differences between how much of one versus the other. And if we're going to do industrial, limited industrial park type work as well, who are we going to target for that, and what sectors, what businesses will be best for the city in the area? So I think on that front, once those analyses are done and we make those decisions, then you're really about executing according to the priorities. Broadband, Dorothy's really got that in hand, for the city anyway. I think there's a much greater need for the county. And I think that a lot of times, especially in the campaign, you run into a lot of people who say, oh, I'm excited you're running for mayor. Sorry, I can't vote for you. Well, 99109 is a big place. And while people aren't in the city limits, a lot of people living in the county calling Chewelah home still don't have adequate service. So I think in working with the BAT team, that broadband access team, and its expansion throughout the county so that everyone in Stephen County has access to internet is crucial, and I would certainly participate in that. And then for the hotel, I was at the grand opening, or the groundbreaking rather, not the grand opening, that's a year away, for the new casino hotel. And this is going to be a 70-room hotel. That's just phase 1. They didn't advertise phase 2 and 3, so I won't steal any thunder by exposing anything here. But the whole hotel casino plan is going to be a tremendous asset to our valley, its citizens, and the entire county. Very exciting to be at the groundbreaking and to see and hear those plans. The renderings that they have and the work that they're going to do is exceptional. So in terms of our kind of come visit and have a place to stay overnight need, and in large part, that's gonna handle that. After that opens, I'd like to look at the assessment as we grow to what additional needs exist. But getting on the casino website and looking into the plans is worth your time.
All right. Good. All right. Ashley, what's on your mind?
All right. So as far as the airport goes, it has been a long-running project. And the city initially decided to purchase it, and we currently have a loan out on it. So the most important thing for me moving forward to focus on, if I were given the opportunity, would be sustainability. We were recently faced with a issue with WSDOT in regards to what we wanted to do on the south side of the airport as far as residential with hangars, and we kind of ran into a roadblock. But as he had stated, there was a recent meeting, and a lot of that got resolved. But it's all about working congruently with all of the parties involved to ensure that we're putting things in place that are best for the community. So if we are looking at, industrial or commercial, are they safe? Are they the best thing for what's up there? There's a lot of aspects to continually look at, but overall, I would be looking at sustainability. We have our fuel system going in. That's been a long-running project, and so once we get that in, we've looked at all the numbers, and we've had Tyrone, who's been a phenomenal resource to us up there, working alongside with us and completely almost all volunteer. A lot of hours have gone into that, but he's provided a lot of analysis for us of how beneficial that could help towards our sustainability. And so I'm really excited about that project going in, not to mention all of the residential opportunities as long as we proceed at a safe aspect. As far as broadband, so the broadband team and Dorothy absolutely have been working with phenomenal efforts to get us better internet access here. I think that it's come leaps and bounds, but there are still gaps in the need to support the underlying areas around Chewelah, especially Stevens County. And I know that Ted works extremely hard with our broadband team in, seeking funding and grants that are out there. And so it's just all about keeping everybody moving forward in that mind frame to get that access to everybody in the area. And then lastly, the hotel, I was at along with Greg, was at the groundbreaking ceremony, and what an amazing experience to witness. I know that they had spoke about trying to start this project in 2005. And so it was really neat to watch them finally break ground and what it could offer to Chewelah. The ability is there to work collaboratively to not only create more jobs in our area, but to provide more of an ability for our local amenities to partner with stay and play packages, or just having the ability to come stay overnight. I've heard that's always been a barrier. So now that we're going to have 70 additional rooms on top of the other hotels and motels that we have in Chewelah, it's a really exciting addition. And so the focus there would be to keep collaborating and maintaining that relationship with the Spokane tribe.
All right.
Okay. Righty. Scott, you're up.
All right. I'm going to preface this a little bit. Everybody that I've ever had through the city or mayors or city administrators, I've asked this same question, and I've never been happy with an answer. So this one particularly important to me, and the way both of you answer this is probably going to decide who I vote for. How's that?
No pressure.
No pressure whatsoever.
No pressure.
All right. So, and I'm going to give an example of this is I moved to Chewelah when I was 10. I've moved away a couple times and come back and got to come back to my hometown and build a radio station 12 years ago. And that's been an amazing experience. But over the past, let's say, decade, I've seen things in Chewelah disappear for our children and not get replaced. Everybody knows about the pool. As another example, we used to have a big wooden playground in the city park. It became dangerous to the point where I actually, because my kids were playing on it, filed complaints because there was nails sticking out of it, shards of wood. The city's answer was to tear it out and not replace it. I have a problem with that kind of stuff. I think in the community itself, we're so focused on the business side of it that we forget about the kids. And that's my question for you. Kids seem to be forgotten in city planning. That's my opinion only. Many residents were upset at the loss of the pool, and wherever I go, somebody's always bringing up the pool again. And everybody just kind of rolls their eyes. Oh, we don't want to deal with this. It's an expensive thing. So I hate to bring it up, but I'm gonna, because people bring it up to me. Is this on your agenda at all? And or what would you like to champion for kids? Greg, you're up first again.
So, you don't go long and running for mayor and not hear about the pool and the disappointment that caused for our community, which is real. And I couldn't agree with you more that I think that an answer that says it was a lot of hard work and we're not going to have a pool is not satisfying. So I'd really like to think of it in terms of if there's a loss. I think you'd mentioned playground equipment that was run down and unsafe being removed and not replaced. We can't, in our community that is lacking for support of things for youth and teens, let things languish, number one, to the point of not being safe, and then tear them down and not replace them. So I'd really like to institute more of a, maintain, and if we have to actually take something out, have a replacement idea in place. But it's not, you can't just globally say children, because we have needs across all age groups. One of the gaps that I think needs to be filled is that as we align to the city comprehensive plan, there are a number of grants that tie with parks and recreation. As I grew up as a youth, I would go to the neighborhood park in the summer, and there would be programs and activities pre-planned all summer long that you would just kind of find yourself in and participating in. There were no charges. They were typically run by older youth, high school students, et cetera, and really enhanced our community where I lived. I'd like to see that in Chewelah. I think there's the components of one, kind of stirring that vision and finding the right leaders to execute it, two, funding it, which is really a grant process, and three, executing it can help at all age levels, because that type of effort incorporates all the way from high school level leaders down to our younger youth. Another component of that that's really emerging because of people that have in the last 10 years moved to Chewelah is at the high school level. And none of these happen in isolation. There's organizations that are non-denominational programs like Young Life. These are wholesome, fun, youth-driven programs that are regionally centered but have a national scope. In fact, there's even international Young Life programs. These are really on the cusp of opportunities, I think, for coming to Chewelah. And with my experience and connections in the space, along with Silas Rapp and some others in Colville, I think Stephen County creates a real good target for the launch of a Young Life program in our county, which would directly affect our city. And that would pay forward down into our younger generations as well, because those programs actually are very community service minded. So those are some of the ideas in the youth space.
All right. Ashley, same question to you. What would you like to champion for our kids?
Absolutely. So children have always been at the forefront of a lot of the community service that I do in our community. For example, I noticed several years ago that we have a demographic of lower income families. And I had heard just from, talking with fellow parents that the cost of our youth programs were getting to be outrageous and taxing on them. So I saw that there was a need, and so I've taken over a couple of our local youth sports programs all the way from age 4 all the way up to grade 6, and I've developed them to be absolutely free to those that want to participate, and not only for our community, but we've invited fellow communities to take place in that as well, and it's all through sponsorship of our amazing local businesses, and that's where I say if we all come together, we all have these causes, and we band together to make some really neat things happen. So what that allowed was for there not to be that income barrier anymore. And so children are a definite focus for me. I know that a lot of people were disappointed when our pool did get tore down, but it was very old and costly. And when things aren't run efficiently, we have to start looking at the, sustainability and effect on our budget. Not to mention, we found out from Westoff Excavation, who did our excavating for where the pool used to be located, there was a big old, huge hole in the bottom of it that could have ultimately, if we had dumped all that money to fix, could have been a safety and liability aspect years down the road. We don't know when that would have occurred, but it sounds like it was almost, great timing on behalf of that decision. I know it was not what people wanted to happen, but we really have to look at the safety and the sustainability in our budget. Pools are extremely expensive to run. I've had an in-ground pool, and you just have to have the revenues to support it or have those willing to go after grants to get it. And I just don't think that we had either box being able to be checked at that point. But I know that there's been a discussion about a splash pad and that we had initially had it in our budget. This was before I was on city council. And I heard that we were not able to do it through our city crew in our main park, but it would be really neat to see something like that implemented maybe over at our Triangle Park and bring more attention on the other side of town, and really utilize another really neat city-owned piece of property. So that's something that I would definitely look into. there's a lot of grants and funding opportunities out there that I think would give us the capabilities to incorporate some more child activities. I definitely think we could expand our parks a lot more in more cost efficient ways to provide more fun things for our children to take place in. And so I absolutely would keep child activities at my forefront.
All right. Thank you, Ashley. Mike, hit him with another question.
You bet. One of the, through the New Approaches program, one of the things that surfaced, consistently through all of the analysis was affordable childcare. And from a business perspective, in visiting not only employees and things like the golf course, the rescue putter, and the chamber, but even with the Spokane Tribe, one of the hurdles for people re-entering back into the environment today is affordable childcare. So what do you see as the role of the city in helping support or develop affordable childcare for the Chewelah community? Greg, you're up.
So again, it's, you kind of have to define child because there's a different need from birth to 3 and above, and then kindergarten kicks in. It seems like most of the current resources that public education supports start at about 4. And, with Head Start programs and things like that, which have value, but for the younger, infant toddler phase, I think that's a real gap for us. I think I was talking to some friends about this, being that my children are all teenagers now, but it seems like we maybe have one independent provider for that younger demographic, which is certainly a gap and certainly prevents those who would want to work and raise children, young children at the same time, creates a real challenge. There are different organizations in town that I'm not going to name, but that I've already spoken to, who would have an interest in terms of augmenting or helping with the affordability aspect for families who have need. But then in terms of developing that resource for our community, I really think that needs to be a grassroots effort. I think that needs to be a group of leaders and concerned citizens to come together and talk about the resources we do have, and start to build out a plan and find different avenues for the city to support filling that gap.
Okay. Ashley, what are your thoughts?
I definitely think it's a big need in our community, especially in that younger age demographic that isn't in school yet. And so there are a couple of different options. I think most of it is being transparent with the resources that are available first and foremost. So there's statewide childcare subsidies. I think that working, with Head Start and early Head Start to provide those accommodations for those families. And then in addition, there's we could definitely encourage more local employer-assisted dependent care to offer to their employees, which would help with that as well. I think that there are, and I have heard the same through our community, that there are different groups and organizations and even individuals that would be willing to come together in a collaborative effort to provide more affordable childcare. We are extremely limited to those that do offer it, but part of that is all the hoops that they have to jump through and the cost of maintaining that facility and what they would be able to charge with childcare. So it's bridging that gap and finding, whether it be a grant or the local interested parties that are willing to band together to create more affordable options, or just connecting them to those resources that are out there and available that they might not know about. So those would be my attacks on more affordable childcare.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Scott, what's on your mind?
Well, I'm going to take that, I guess, maybe a step further, because when we talk about creating more childcare accessibility and stuff, basically we're talking about the creation of private businesses in our community and finding someone that would take on a business like a childcare or whatever, which I'm sure has all sorts of rules that need to be followed and can be difficult. We also have, and we brought this up in a few other conversations, but the downtown revitalization, we were doing really good for years, and now we've got a lot of empty storefronts. And once again, these are privately owned and private businesses. Greg, what can the city do to help?
So I would say we do have a lot of, I would add one thing: do we have empty businesses? We have a number of empty restored businesses.
Yes.
The case in point is the old Chewelah Bank building, which was Jean's Beans. It was interesting. I was looking in the window the other day. It looks a lot like a coffee shop. And one of the aspects that I'd hope to inspire and work with the high schools to start to fill those is a business mentorship program, because we have terrific business minds in our community. But a lot of times, youth and adults alike, it's more of mental barriers that stand in the way, and just not recognizing what resources are available. And Jean's Beans, that building itself is a great example. The upfront cost to actually ignite that as a downtown coffee shop where you can go and sit with friends and enjoy a cup of coffee, the upfront cost would be minimal. So I think I don't want to say business incubator, because I think that's overused. I really like to use the word mentorship, because whether it's youth or adults, a lot of times you need people who have gone before you, taken some of those risks and learned from them, to have your back as you venture out to pursue your dreams. And so I think that's one effort. I think from a city side, and I can speak to this very directly, we've been closer than most and work with the city as launching new businesses. Since we've been here, we've opened 3 new businesses and renovated St. Mary's School in a Mountain Market on Main. November 1st, Jana will open her 4th business in that shop, and we'll finally have actually a men's focused store in Chewelah. And the final step there will be a bistro. So that puts you really front and center with permitting, licensing, raising the bar in our city to meet ADA standards, et cetera, and a lot of interface with the city. One of the things I could absolutely guarantee I'm committed to is that the interface with the city would be business friendly. We need to be a town that recognizes the hard work and investment that people make to start businesses in our town. And sometimes, there can be financial incentives where you can create discounts and rebates, perhaps over a certain amount of time on certain utilities or services that might help that business start off. But it's actually more the stance of the city towards that individual, that one, we see them, we recognize them, and we're here to help them succeed. And I think from a leadership standpoint, that really ties to the city department heads, and what expectation is set for them to, one, know what's going on and to be engaged with that process, know who those people are and know what their plans are, and then to be working with the other leaders in the city to figure out different ways that we can further incentivize the good work being done. So I think those are some ways. I'd also say this, with the improvements going on at 49 Degrees North, with the improvements and success of the golf course, and with the 3-phase plan of the casino, those businesses, those retail spots are going to be hot commodities in a relatively short time. So I think it points to a very bright future, and I think it also points to an opportunity for city government to be prepared for that, engage with it, and help steward that along on behalf of the city.
All right. Same question to you, Ashley. Let's see if I can reword it for you again. Downtown revitalization, a lot of empty storefronts. How do you see the city's role in helping get those filled?
So I think that we have to look at that from an overall bird's eye perspective in the fact of supply and demand. Again, I think that if we were to provide more housing, it's, economics 101. Supply and demand. I think that if we were to have more of a supply, our demand would not be as great, and our storefronts would not be advertised at over $350,000. We just don't have the revenues to support a local business at that amount. Not to mention all of the upfront cost and the ongoing utilities of the city. It's unobtainable to be able to support a new business there. So we really have to look at it from an overall perspective of, are we making all other components affordable to begin with? And so there's some other downtown revitalizations that I would look at in addition to. So I've seen several situations in which pedestrians almost getting hit down there. So I'd love to see some implementation of some more safety factors, whether that be the neat little nifty the crossing guard flags you see in Colville or the flashing pedestrian crossing signs that I've seen in other local towns. It's all about providing safety down there, in addition to allowing all age demographics to enjoy it. So if we bring that demand back into downtown, our elderly will be able to enjoy it. It will create, more safer, more mobility factors for them. I would like to see more people be able to enjoy it. And I feel like that drive and demand would be able to come down there. I do think that we do have a lot of amenities that bring people down through that area. But yet we still need to create the opportunity for those to enjoy it.
All right, we are running out of time, so I am going to give you both just a chance to give one last comment. Greg?
Well, first, thank you, Ashley, Mike, Scott. Yeah, really a pleasure to be on the radio and YouTube, actually, for first time. So this is kind of a twofer for me. But I appreciate the thoughtful questions about our city, and I think it represents the passion that we all have for its future and its success. I've been throughout the campaign really learning a lot and championing what I learn to our individual citizens, which I would continue in step as mayor. I do believe that by aligning the efforts of the teams of volunteers together around what is the city comprehensive plan is a crucial step, because we have to start to galvanize as one community, not individual sectors with individual initiatives. And it actually is not out of reach in any way, because while very few of us know about the city comprehensive plan, from a citizenry standpoint, as mayor, I would champion that. In fact, I'm looking at ways that we can consolidate what is a 150-page plan in a more digestible perspective that an average citizen could pick up and understand, well, what did the citizens define as that 20-year vision for our plan? By doing that, we're going to be able to create intersection points for the various teams of individuals that are driving forward with good work. That is going to provide incredible lift for our community. It's going to provide lift for our economy. It's also going to make room for new ideas and synergies that can happen for our success. So I think our future is very bright. I think with increased communication and leadership, we can really take hold of that and have a great time as community. So thank you for having me on.
Thank you, Greg. Ashley, closing words?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much to Scott, Mike, and of course, Greg, for allowing us the opportunity to dive deeper into some of these ongoing issues. It's been a lot of fun to be able to share our thoughts and opinions of how we could best combat these. So really, I wish Greg the best of luck, and I think he's a great candidate. And I really just want to see the city continue to work towards coming together to continue to make our town a better place for everybody that lives here, all the way from infant up into our elderly age demographic. I think we have some amazing amenities to offer. And so I would love for all of us to continue to collaborate moving forward. We do have our amazing comprehensive plan that took years to integrate. And I do think that the most important component of that is the communication and the transparency to get out to our community. I would love to see some things moving forward, such as some of the city departments' communications towards our public. We have ongoing questions always of what's going on, when will our streets be done, what's the next project, I saw yesterday, are our pipes being flushed because they have brown water? There's just a lot of things that are still not being communicated. And so I would love to implement a lot more communication to our public from the city standpoint, to be that liaison to current projects and neat organizations that are hosting things. And so I just really want to see our town continue to band together, especially as we're seeing this crazy growth and all of the neat opportunities and businesses coming into the area, in addition to all the families and visitors that we're about to get with all of our amenities that are making upgrades, and with our new hotel coming down the lane. So really just want to see the best things coming towards our city, and that we're all banding together for the same cause and purpose.
All right.
Thank you so much for the time today to talk on here.
All right. Ashley Ludwig and Greg McCunn, thank you both very much for being on KCHW. And after the election, one of you will probably make quarterly appearances, I hope, on the radio like Dorothy does. Yeah? Yeah. So keep that in the back of your hand. Round of applause for both of you. Wishes for good luck. While we have a captive audience and we're talking politics, I want to point out that last week we had the candidate forum put on by the Independent and the Chamber of Commerce. We were able to record that event. I am rebroadcasting it tonight at 6. And our interview today will be rebroadcast on Saturday morning at 7. For those that may have missed a portion of it, it should be up on our Facebook page at the end of the broadcast and our YouTube page as well for people that maybe just caught a portion of it. Want to share that, and also give Mr. Mike Bentz a comment for some closing words.
Scott, we've talked about this before. I think Trujillo is privileged to have two great candidates for the mayor spot. And I don't know how to express that anymore. I've been here since 2013, and I think the election process was more dynamic and more progressive thinking into the future than it's been since 2013, since I moved here. So good luck to both of you. From that perspective, and I mirror Scott, one of the things that we do on the radio is bring people in on a consistent basis or even on a request basis once they're in a particular position to help the community to be informed. So thanks for your time today, and good luck to both of you.
Definitely. Good luck to both of you. Thank you for being here. That is our show for today. Want to remind you, like I said, we will have a rebroadcast of the candidate forum at 6 o'clock, and then our live show tonight at 8. It's Dirt Road Doug and the Dirt Road Blues, and it all happens on Northern Lights Public Radio. We are KCHW 102.7, and you have a great day. Everybody wave goodbye. It's the best of Motown. Catch Got Soul with Jeff Newman. Thursday nights at 6 on the Music Education Station. KCHW 102.7. Your KCHW morning show made possible by